There are so few many times within our lives that we encounter a story that changes us, a piece of fiction that connects so deeply and personally with us that it's thereby immortalized. For a story to overwhelm our thoughts, for us to be enveloped within its message, and to truly feel something. To me, that is why I love stories. That despite being worlds away quite literally, we can connect with the story's characters and thereby have them feel more than just individuals within a story, but to see ourselves within them, our struggles, our loss, our journey. That story may vary for each and every one of us, but for me, that story is Bleach. Growing up as an only child, I was always drawn to fictional stories. Stories that I could become immersed in and fantasize myself being within. And the medium I fell in love with the deepest was anime. At every point in my life, I've been able to fall back on anime and manga through whatever struggle I've faced or success I've experienced. The stories are relatable, transcendent, and compelling. And as silly as it sounds for most, it changed my life for the better. On January 31st, 2022, I decided to publish my first video on a series that I heard differing opinions and thoughts regarding. Little did I know that reading and watching this series, along with creating videos sharing my thoughts about it, that it would change my life and impact me in ways that went beyond the story. From the very first episode and chapter of Bleach, I was hooked. An orange-haired kid with the ability to see ghosts, and a young Shinigami clad in dark garb. The designs caught me immediately. Tite Kubo is unquestionably one of the most talented mangaka when it comes to character designs, and this theme starting from the very first chapter titled Death in Strawberry, I'd soon learn would be something that would remain as one of the most praised elements of Bleach. However, outside of character designs, what entranced me even more was the dark theme that was presented immediately. Ichigo, with the lives of his family threatened, he undertakes the ability to become a Shinigami in order to save those he cherishes. Ichigo doesn't aspire to be the greatest of anything. From the very first chapter, his motive is simple and remains the same: to be strong enough to protect those he loves. This motivation is unique among shonen protagonists, and right away it stood out to me as fascinating. Not only with the protagonist possessing a fairly unique motivation, he also stood out as sullen and more reserved. This fascination with these unique character elements within Ichigo Kurosaki, along with my soon-to-be obsession with Rukia Kuchiki, they hooked me and had me fully immersed into this piece of fiction. Through the first arc with what seemed like a Scooby-Doo-esque ghost hunting anime, I truly adored each episode despite the controversy of the first arc. At first, the story seemed fairly simplistic, but as time grew on and I consumed more and more of Bleach, I slowly began to realize just how many real-world topics are touched on. Depression, grief, loss, feelings of inadequacy. Kubo puts these topics at the forefront of the story and their emotions I felt and at the time I was particularly dealing with. This fun adventure slowly started to feel real to me as we pulled back the layers of Ichigo, and I soon understood just how relatable Ichigo is. Throughout my life, I've dealt with a lot of negative emotions and thoughts, with confusion of if I'll ever be enough or be able to conquer my own demons. Despite that, I still strove for what I wanted in face of such internal adversaries. I went through life and school doing what was expected of me, and I did pretty well at that, but there was a part of me that always wanted more. Growing up, I was fascinated with content creation and YouTube, the ability to tell a story, create something from scratch, and share this creation and love with others. As an individual extremely passionate, I was enamored by this very concept, yet I didn't have the self-belief to create my own videos for fear of it not being enough. During summer of 2020, after graduating college, I was left with a ton of questions of what I wanted to do. And without answers to these questions, I decided with all this time to start a YouTube channel and give this long-lasting dream a shot. Hell, what did I have to lose? Channel growth was extremely slow, and truthfully, my old videos weren't good, but I decided that doing something was better than doing nothing due to self-doubt, and that mindset served me well. I spent my lunch hours at work recording videos and writing scripts, and I immersed myself into content creation because I wanted to share this love I have with others, despite the likelihood of it falling on deaf ears. Creating videos was an escape for me, an escape from some really unfortunate happenings in my life. My little channel, despite its insignificance to most, it was a lifeline to maybe impact another person, even though I didn't possess the same skill other creators had. In hell, even today, I feel like I'm not the best writer, the best editor, the best speaker. In face of these doubts and lack of self-belief, I found solace within the story of Bleach and understanding Ichigo. If fate is a millstone, we are the grist. There is nothing we can do, so I wish for strength. If I cannot protect them from the wheel, then give me a strong blade and enough strength to shatter fate. This quote from Ichigo in regards to the potentiality of being helpless in the face of fate, he asked for strength to shatter that very notion. Whether that be my own thoughts, struggles, or lack of direction, these ideals weren't bound to me. They can be overcome as seen through Ichigo's words. Ichigo's growth and struggle throughout the story is something I feel almost anyone can be compelled by. Witnessing Ichigo with one desire within protecting those he loves being met simultaneously with the reality that he isn't strong enough to do so. It makes you feel for his struggle, yet simultaneously motivated by his unwavering desire to stand back up. This is embodied within his fight with Ulquiorra, with Ichigo stating that he isn't fighting because he thinks he can win, he's fighting because he has to win. Ichigo rejects the notion that this is a fight of desire or choice. It's a fight of duty, the duty to protect those he cares for. This is the essence of Ichigo and the reason I find him to be the most relatable main character for any shonen. Ichigo outside of his life as a Shinigami is a regular human, albeit one who has suffered loss more than most, but he aspires for a regular life. His actions to become a Shinigami, to take on the duties as a substitute Soul Reaper, they're done out of a compulsion outside of himself, an instinct to protect. As we witness his experiences, his defeats, and his victories, we're exposed to one of the most interesting worlds within modern anime. There has truly never been a more exciting arc I've experienced than the Soul Society arc. Hell, we get to see some of the most visually fantastic characters I may have ever seen within the Goatee 13, and not only do these individuals look amazing, they possess incredibly unique abilities and powers. My god, once I learned of the Bankai, I couldn't stop saying it. It's truly one of the most dope powers I've come across, and still after finishing this series, I find the words of Bankai coming out of my mouth several times a day in an attempt to mirror the voices of some of my favorite voice acting within fiction. Bankai. Senbon Zakura. No story has gripped me the way Bleach has. The emotions I had with Rukia being sentenced to execution and Ichigo doing everything in his power to save her. This experience was a once-in-a-lifetime allurement within a story. I still get chills thinking back to Old Man Zangetsu lamenting the rain, and he reaches out to Ichigo when he was struck down by Kenpachi, with Old Man Zangetsu asking Ichigo if he wants to fight, if he wants to win, or if he wants to live. With Ichigo's response being he wants to win, Old Man Zangetsu standing before Ichigo's defeated body, he brings Ichigo to meet both of his inner demons. This inner demon trope is done masterfully. Two entities which seem to be clouded or perhaps nefarious, White and Old Man Zangetsu. As we learn, they're part of Ichigo. The development of Ichigo and the two entities existing within him, it's a journey of Ichigo accepting himself, all facets of his being. This is something I felt personally. Despite whatever metaphorical demons I've faced or have, Ichigo's journey reminded me that the greatest conquest isn't to obtain the world or riches. Instead, the greatest conquest is to conquer your own demons. This narrative following Ichigo is a journey of self-acceptance, the relinquishment of internal shackles, and the true understanding of oneself. The journey, the experience, the story, they spoke to me. As I experienced Bleach and shared my thoughts and love of this story, my channel gradually started to pick up traction, and I slowly began to develop an audience who enjoyed my thoughts of covering a story that's near and dear to their heart. A story that maximized and evoked my passion for storytelling. After all this time, I had found what I long wanted. The ability to create content and speak as an individual, to share my experience with this story and how it affected me, all it made me think and feel. Through this journey of content creation, I had hopped from different niches, from chapter reviews to character analysis, but it never truly felt like it was me. I was more so relaying a message and depiction of a topic. But this video series was different. I wasn't doing this for others, I was creating content I looked forward to creating each and every time. That even if no one watched it, I was proud of what I created. There truly is no better feeling than failing over and over again, and choosing to stand back up in face of defeat and eventually achieve victory. As the story progressed, I started to see this very theme from my own life within Ichigo experiencing similar concepts. Facing defeat and despair countless times, yet getting back up. As I was met with some unfortunate news within my own life, as was Ichigo within the story, and seemingly by fate itself, the overlapping of these events made me feel like I wasn't alone, that my struggles weren't just mine. I know some may say it's just anime or manga, but that's the essence of why I love stories, that despite being fiction, they feel real. The experiences characters go through, they're a reflection of the human experience, something I feel we all face: loss, grief, despair, and inadequacy. This story came at a time in my life where I needed it. While going through some of the worst experiences of my life, I found solace within Ichigo's story, in this enchanting world of Bleach, that despite whatever I was faced with, I had an escape within this piece of fiction. Long after I grow old and one day no longer create content, I'll forever remember this story and the timing it had in my life, how it made me feel not alone, how it inspired me to stand back up. Being immersed in this story is one of the greatest experiences I've ever had. Bleach is a story of overcoming your demons, standing in the face of defeat, refusing to back down, one of accepting yourself. It's a story we can all see ourselves within and be inspired by. The comedy, amazing fights, sexy and brilliantly designed characters sure as hell do add to the package as well. Covering Bleach has been the ride of a lifetime, and I've been waiting a long time to talk about my experience with this story on a more intimate level. I know this video is personal, but the story means a lot to me, far more than just a piece of fiction that I enjoy. Through darkness and rain, I found solace in the journey of Ichigo, who reflects the human experience, my human experience, a character and journey that transcends fiction itself. Bleach changed my life. Whether the story that changes you is Bleach or another, I hope you too can experience something similar. Whatever obstacles or pain you face, you're not alone, even if all hope seems lost. No matter what, get back up and refuse to accept defeat. Your dreams aren't impossible, your fate isn't sealed, it's just within your grasp. Reach out, be greedier.